The year is 2011. In the wake of the overthrow of Tunisian President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali and the subsequent Arab Spring that followed, the Syrian opposition decided to seize the moment and stage protests against Bashar al-Assad's authoritarian regime. This protest soon escalated into a full-scale civil war. By the mid-2010s, the war had evolved into a multifaceted conflict involving several factions. On one side, the Syrian Arab army loyal to Assad, on another, the Syrian opposition comprising multiple groups, and on a third, the ISIS terrorists who had emerged from Al-Qaeda. In September 2015, as Assad's position weakened significantly and the Islamic State reached the height of its power, Russia entered the conflict. Under the pretext of fighting terrorism, Russian aviation began conducting airstrikes not only against ISIS positions, but also against other groups, including the moderate opposition supported by the West.
Hey everyone, my name is Dymitr, and today, given the current circumstances and the more the fire rises, we'll return to the year 2020 and playing as the official government of Bashar al-Assad, we will try to end the chaos that has plagued Syria since way back in 2011. But before we start, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it really motivates me to create more videos for you. So, enjoy the video. So, the Syrian Arab Republic, 1st January 2020. After initiating its military operation at the request of the official government, by 2020, Russia had effectively ensured the survival of Assad's regime, though the situation remained complicated. The northwest region of Idlib was still an opposition stronghold, where Turkish forces and affiliated groups such as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham were active. In the northeast, Kurdish formations held territory with US support. To the south lay Lebanon, some areas of which remained under the control of the Iranian-backed groups Hezbollah. Supported by Iran, Hezbollah played a key role in the fight against the Syrian opposition, sending its combat units into Syria to support government troops. As for internal issues in the territories under our control, the country was mired in corruption and bribery. The army was led by poorly qualified officers, and the economy had been almost completely destroyed by 9 years of ongoing war. Given the situation, we prioritized research into new military technologies, and the existing factories began producing cheap and affordable equipment. Before the planned large-scale offensive, divisions were assigned to the 2 most capable generals and moved right up to Idlib. Not a week into the new year, Russia and Iran once again made it clear that we could rely on them if necessary, and new trade contracts were signed. In mid-February, the civil war in Libya ended with Gaddafi's supporters emerging victorious, a good sign since Libya had also been struck by the Arab Spring. In early April, before beginning the offensive, we requested economic support from Russia as a precaution. On the 18th of May, the unification operation began. Our entire air force took to the skies, and our soldiers advanced from multiple directions. During the frontline clashes, we spotted the legendary General Admiral Aladdin, who had changed his name to Lucas Jones. Judging by our success, they did not expect such a massive offensive. The city was retaken, and the leaders of the criminal group were either punished to the full extent of Syrian law, or fled to Turkey. Our next target was the Kurdish forces in the north. Allied states, as always, were happy to help us, even Hezbollah. In the north, thanks to better infrastructure, the advance was faster than in the desert south. However, the supply shortage problem soon made itself felt.
North of Al-Raqqa, Turkish formations were spotted, apparently just observing for the time being. The offensive stalled, and even our allied contingent proved powerless in the face of the supply deficit. For some time, our armed forces tried relentlessly to break through the front. Cities were rebuilt, weapons and trucks were pushed haste, but it seems a completely different approach was needed here. Some of our army units were ordered to retreat to the rear. This measure should have somewhat reduced the supply shortage, but it had an even better outcome. Our allies finally started to take action. On 11th of November, the last Kurdish stronghold of resistance was subdued, marking the end of what seemed like an endless civil war. State integrity was restored, we gained new factories and the ability to reform the army. Now that the main internal problem was solved, we could focus on our neighbors as well. Back in 1976, at the height of the Lebanese civil war, Syrian troops were deployed to the Beirut under the pretext of stabilizing the situation and protecting Syria's interests. The operation was planned as a peacekeeping mission, though in reality, Syria aimed to establish political and military control over Lebanon, seeing it as an important strategic outpost in the Middle East. This remains the case until the early 2000s, when the presence of Syrian troops caused growing dissatisfaction. Mass protests, known as the Syria Revolution, led to intense international pressure on Damascus and ultimately to withdrawal of the Syrian army from Lebanon in April 2005. Today, after 15 years of restored Lebanese independence, we see that the situation there has hardly improved. And since Assad needed to regain influence on the international stage, the decision was made to repeat the peacekeeping operation and incorporate Beirut, especially since no one is likely to pay much attention, as everyone is currently preoccupied with the civil war in Saudi Arabia. In mid-December, Operation Ping Down 2 began. Soon the intensity of fighting on the border was so high that when Hezbollah turned on Lebanon's side, they encountered no resistance on their way.
خلفي تماما الآن مرور عشرات الآليات المحملة بمئات المقاتلين من الجيش الوطني الحر القوى المشتركة باتجاه.
Fortunately, the president had managed to move the government north to Aleppo and promptly alert the command about Hezbollah's sudden offensive. Hezbollah, who had only recently been our ally. This was a test of loyalty, and our armed forces passed it. The Shiite offensive stalled, and step by step cities returned to our control. On 13th of February, our soldiers entered Tripolis, thus by carefully choosing the right moment, bolstering his power and taking advantage of international crises, such as the civil war in Saudi Arabia. Bashar al-Assad succeeded not only in reuniting a divided Syria, but also in annexing neighboring Lebanon. So thank you for watching, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and goodbye.
وخلي الدنيا كلها تميل